Hey, what is up, everybody? Let's get into the recap real quick. Let's get it. Our lock of the day. Our lock of the day streak of missing finally ended yesterday thanks to Thomas Sadaransky, man. The assist, the point guard himself, Sadaransky, only plays like 15 minutes yesterday, gets his assist on the dot there. He gets 7 for us there. Got in some foul trouble in the first half, and then they ended up blowing out the Mavs. But thankfully he got there on his assists. Karl Anthony Towns, April Fools. I did keep saying go over on him yesterday. That was the whole point of the April Fool's joke, is I was telling everybody to go over on 100 threes. I'm really hoping that nobody actually did. Obviously, it's impossible to hit 100 threes in a game. Teams barely hit 100 points sometimes. Obviously, no one can hit 100 threes. It was an April Fool's joke with Underdog, and then I also just kind of went with it. A lot of people yesterday took me serious. I don't know why. I hope no one actually bet over 100 threes. Jalen Green over 23.5 points was a solid bet for us yesterday. Davion Mitchell ended up, I don't think he even scored in like he didn't even score till like late in the second quarter. He ended up not having a great game. And thanks to some people in the comments yesterday, I realized that the Celtics weren't home yesterday. Or were home yesterday, they weren't away. So I swapped out Jaylen Brown's assists for Pascal Siakam's points. And then Pascal Siakam and the entire Raptors team decided they all wanted to score an equal amount of points. I think there was like 7 guys that scored 10 in double digits. And then Pascal Siakam went 0 for 7 in the fourth quarter. He had 16. I'm so sick and tired of this. He had 12 points at the half. Or 14 points at the half. Didn't score one time in the entire third quarter, and he went 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter. 1 for 7. He would have easily cashed his line had he even hit half of those shots. I am sick and tired of players having really good first halves and then not doing anything in the second half. What I should have just done with Jaylen Brown was just, if I liked the under away, I should have just went over. He ended up having 7 assists yesterday, so I should have just went with the over on Jaylen Brown. Nonetheless, we end up starting the month at a 3-2 start, and we cash on our Sadaransky lock of the day. So not too shabby of a month, so let's get into today. Let's get it. Real quick, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, make sure that you there's a link down in the description I have that automatically takes you to the App Store where you can download Underdog Fantasy. Also throws in my TAKEMYSHOT code when you guys sign up for that. So when you make your first deposit, it helps me out big time, as well as it gives you a 100% deposit match up to $100. So if you throw in $20, for example, you'll get actually $40, and they'll give you another $20 free just to bet on for funsies, a little risk-free bets for fun. And so that is always nice as well to get those risk-free bets. Also helps me out, like I said, big time if you guys use my code TAKEMYSHOT. Because all my picks every single day are always going to be Underdog Fantasy picks. I think it's the best player prop betting app out there. With that being said, now let's get to today's picks. All right, baby, coming up the lock of the day. Let's get it. Yesterday, Sadaransky starts off the month for us with a 1-0 start over on his assist last night. Our lock of the day is technically not out yet. I got up bright and early today, about 6:30 a.m. because the earliest game is 11:30. So still quite a few lines not out yet, but I could take a guesstimation about what I'm probably going to think they're going to be at. And I'm still loving this line anyways because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to put it over 30. Kevin Durant, baby, is our lock of the day versus the Atlanta Hawks. In his last 3 matchups, not this season. He's played them twice this season. He played them on November 3rd and December 10th. He dropped 32 points and 31 points. I'm assuming because now that Kyrie Irving is full-time in the lineup, they're probably going to put him at 28.5, 27.5, I would assume. Of course, once they put this line up officially, I'll throw it up here. But I am liking Kevin Durant over his points today, whatever they end up going with him. Like I said, he's a matchup nightmare for them. Guys like DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, those wing scorers like that, they don't have anybody in the Hawks to defend him. So the sportsbooks have this one sitting at just about a 3-point spread over a 241 total. So this is going to be a high-scoring game, competitive game, close game between these two teams. So I like Kevin Durant over on his points today. Whatever they end up putting in at, I'm going to guess 28.5, 27.5. All right, next up, let me get an under. Let me get an under on DeMar DeRozan versus the Miami Heat today. Last time out when DeMar played, his line was set at 26.5. And DeMar in his last 3 games versus the Miami Heat only averaging 22 points per game. He obviously great wing defense team with PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler. Those guys are healthy tonight. They're playing tonight. At this point in time, there's no reason to think that they're not. So those guys are in the lineup right now. In his last matchup back on February 28th, they held him to just 18 points. In the matchup before that, he did have 28. but played 41 minutes in that one, so I'm assuming that one got pretty close to overtime, if not did hit overtime. But DeMar DeRozan had 34 minutes in their last matchup, held to just 18 points on 7 of 16 shooting. Just got locked up, man, by great defense of the Miami Heat, so I'm anticipating the same kind of thing tonight versus the Miami Heat, and I'm liking under on DeMar DeRozan's. I'm going to say 26.5 or 25.5 points tonight. Next up, we are riding with a super hot hand. Give us Jordan Poole over 25.5 points. They put him all the way up to 26 points now. And it makes sense because he's hit 7 of his last 10 for Jordan Poole over 26 points. In the games where he didn't have 26 points, 25 points, 24 points, and 20 points. His worst game coming against the Wizards where he had just 20 points. But other than that, he's hit 7 of his last 10. He is absolutely crushing it as the main guy and the main scorer for this Warriors squad. Today he takes on the Utah Jazz. Should be a competitive game between these two teams. I was just looking at it just a few seconds ago. Only has just a 1.5 point spread, 218 total. So not a super high scoring game, but they anticipate this one to be close between a struggling Utah Jazz team and low-key a struggling Warriors team. They did show us some good stuff the other day when the Warriors took on the Suns. But this one, I'm assuming, is going to be super competitive between two top teams in the West. So I like Jordan Poole over 25.5 points. The Jazz have already been giving up a lot too, as far as guards on the wing as far as guards scoring as well. So I like Jordan Poole to keep his hot streak alive versus the Utah Jazz today. So Jordan Poole over 25.5 points. Lock that one in. And again, like I said, I am up a little bit earlier, actually much earlier than I normally ever happen for a video. So these next two lines, again, are lines that aren't official yet. So they're not thrown up on Underdog. They're not thrown up on any books yet. But they're two lines that I know are still going to be solid picks. Next up, we're going to go over on Rudy Gobert's rebounds. As long as this same game stays close and competitive, I'm assuming they're going to put it right at 14.5, 13.5. Still love it. Obviously, the best rebound in the NBA versus one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA with the Golden State Warriors. Rudy Gobert should absolutely gobble the glass today. And in Rudy Gobert's last 3 matchups versus the Warriors, 15 boards, 19 boards, 18 boards. So I'm assuming whatever they put it at, the highest I've seen him this year is 14.5. So I'm assuming they'll put him at 14.5 again, cashing in all 3 of his last matchups versus the Warriors. And the 2 this season, he's averaging 19 rebounds and 18 rebounds. So yeah, he should absolutely destroy his rebound line today. Again, if this one stays close, Rudy Gobert plays a lot of minutes for a big. In his 2 matchups this year, played 35 minutes and 36 minutes. So I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen today. So I like Rudy Gobert over, I'm assuming, like I said, 14.5 rebounds today for Rudy Gobert. Next up, I'm going to go against the grain here because historically he's actually not had the greatest performances versus this team. It's surprisingly. We're going to go over on Darius Garland's points. I'm assuming they're going to put it rated like maybe 23.5, 24.5. This line is officially not out yet. His 2 matchups this year versus the Knicks, he had 16 points on it all the way back in a November 7th matchup. So that Cavs team looked very different as well as that Knicks team. Ricky Rubio dropped 37 that day. That takes a lot away. That takes a lot away from Darius Garland. So Ricky Rubio stole the show in that matchup for sure. As well as their most recent matchup, they both didn't even touch 100 points. So both teams shot poorly. He had a bad game. He shot 6 for 19. Only managed to get 13 points in that game. I'm not assuming that's what's going to happen today. It looks like both times his matchup, somebody else stole the show, but it was a guard still. And in the other game, he just shot bad. Both teams had a really bad night because they didn't even touch 100 points. Neither of those teams did. The only reason I'm going to go with this matchup, and I still solidly love this matchup, for the same exact reason that Ricky Rubio dropped 37 on this Knicks defense. LaMelo Ball, in their most recent matchups, had 20 points and 32 points. Zach LaVine had 27 on them. Trae Young had 45. Donovan Mitchell had 36. And in the same game, Jordan Clarkson had 23. The Knicks just give up a lot to guards. Historically, he hasn't had great performances. I'm going to go against the grain on this one just because they give up so much to starting guards. LaMelo, 20, 32. Trae Young, 45. Donovan Mitchell, 36. Darius Garland is very capable of scoring like those guys. I like it today for Donovan Mitchell over 23.5, 24.5 points today versus the New York Knicks. With that being said, let's throw together our perfect 3 and our perfect 5 slips. Let's get it over, our lock of the day. We'll start out our perfect 3 slip over on 28.5 points for Kevin Durant. Then we're going to go over on Jordan Poole's 25.5 points and Rudy Gobert over 14.5 rebounds. Again, Rudy Gobert line is not officially out. I'm assuming they'll put it right at 14.5, maybe 15.5. Still like it either way. So that will round out our perfect 3 slip with Kevin Durant, Jordan Poole, and Rudy Gobert. And for our perfect 5 slip will be our 3 slip of Kevin Durant, 28.5 points, Rudy Gobert over 14.5 rebounds, and Jordan Poole over 25.5 points. Then we'll add the under for DeMar DeRozan's 25.5 points and the over for Darius Garland's 24.5 points. These ones may change just a little bit. Maybe might swap out a Garland one because, like I said, I am recording this super early in the morning, so I wanted to get it out a few hours before the first game. So Darius Garland's line might change by the end of the day, but I'm still loving the 3 slips, still loving the other 4 picks. And again, Rudy Gobert is not an official line. Neither is Kevin Durant, but I'm assuming based on past lines that they've had out for these guys that that's probably where they're going to put them most likely. With that being said, guys, thank you guys for the people that were at the stream yesterday. The stream was a super fun time. Got up to about 50 people in the stream as my highest at any point in that stream yesterday. Had about a solid 30 to 20 people in it. About the majority of the time we just sat there, talked about the games, talked about picks, talked about talked about slips, talked about picks, talked about the game. It was super fun. Thomas Satoransky is just a baller. We were able to watch him get 4 first quarter assists. He is a maniac. It was a fun time. We'll definitely continue to do those in the future. If you missed it yesterday, that's okay. It is posted up on my page, as well as I'll have more happen in the future for sure. So with that being said, let's have a successful Saturday. Not the biggest Saturday slate in the world. We've got a wide range of games that start at 11:30 and finish at 7:30. So very spread out on those lines for sure. But we'll make it work, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.